Hi, everybody. Welcome inside the CrossFit Update Studios. I'm Sean Woodland with Miranda Oldroyd and Tommy Marquez. The men of the West Regional just wrapping up event number 1. Tyson Takasaki gets the win, but Brent Fikowski, this is not an event that I thought he would be in the top 10, finishes second.
In a situation where last 2 years we saw the heavy barbell basically dash his hopes of making the games, it was nice to see him take a top 3 spot in this particular event, along with Tyson Takasaki, who, I'm going to brag for a second, was my pick.
Yes, he was.
So. I want to mention Cody Anderson on this event, though, too, because he placed 12th, so not, a top finish, but for Cody Anderson to be that high right before Strict Nate, these guys better watch
Justin
out.
Judkins alongside Bill Grundler. Bill, we've already had 2 heats. Take a shot at event number 2. We only have 2 heats left. Heat number 3 is coming up. So far, all of the talk has been about Eric Showman. He was only 29 seconds off the event record pace. And now we've got heat number 3 coming up. Cody Anderson, if there's anybody that can take that down, it's got to be him, and he's got to be confident coming into this event.
Yeah, Cody Anderson, he's known for his muscle-ups first and foremost, and this is all going to be about the muscle-ups and going into those handstand push-ups. But if there's any guy who's going to be able to have a shot at Showman's time, which is unbelievable. I mean, he looks so relaxed as he's going through here.
He had
it's going to be Cody
right there on his last set of muscle-ups. Otherwise, we could have possibly seen him take down that event record pace. But walk us through this event right now.
So we got 10 rounds for time of this regional style Nate workout. It's going to be 4 strict muscle-ups, 7 strict handstand push-ups, and then 12 kettlebell snatches, and it's going to be 70 pounds for the men. We have a 20-minute time cap. And only a handful of guys have been able to make this all the way through and around all the regions so far. But we have to look and keep our eye on lane number 4 with Cody Anderson. This is his workout.
Yeah, definitely. Custom tailored for Cody Anderson. He'll be in lane number 4. And I would expect that even though this is a slower paced event, I think that he'll come out at a very quick pace.
But it's 20 minutes. He knows his body well enough to set a certain pace. And I don't know if it's going to be blazing, but it will appear blazing because he's going to make these look so easy.
Especially compared to some of the other guys.
Yeah.
As fatigue sets in, too.
And I don't expect him. You see all these other guys are going to start breaking these down right away. I don't see that happening with him. I think he's going to go at least 5-6 rounds before he breaks up anything.
There he is in the blue shirt. Cody Anderson jumping out ahead, and he's starting to break up the handstand push-ups right away, which surprises me a little bit. But obviously he's got a game plan in mind, and he's got a strategy that he's going to stick to.
But, Justin, let's think about what he's doing. Where is he going to make up the most time? And that's going to be on the muscle-ups. Everybody else is going to be slow there. He doesn't need to be slow there. So if he can take a little bit of a rest early, and that's what a lot of these athletes keep missing, is break early. Don't break at round 5, 6, 7.
When you have
break
to break.
At 1, 2,
break
3,
when
4,
you can break.
So you can keep that tempo all the way through all these rounds.
Cole Sager on the far right. There's Cody Anderson now finishing round number 1, heading back to those muscle-ups, taking a quick look down the lane to see who else is finishing up their kettlebell snatches. And that 70 pounds on that kettlebell, they need to do 6 on one arm and 6 on the other arm.
Look at that strength. Super hollow body position. Great body positioning. It doesn't look like he's struggling at all. And again, fast transition from the muscle-ups into the handstand push-up. Now, I think the other thing he's doing here is he's one of the smaller athletes. So the 70 pound is going to, of the kettlebell snatch is going to affect him more than it is for some of these larger athletes. So what he's doing is relaxing those shoulders, giving them a chance to rest because he isn't having to do that on the muscle-ups.
Yeah. Some of the bigger athletes are happy when they get to that kettlebell. He's happy when he gets to the muscle-ups.
Cody Anderson really made a name for himself. 1, making it to the games, in such a shocking way. But
well,
2,
the year that he went
in the games, it was that muscle-up biathlon.
Yeah.
That was where all of a sudden it was like, wow, he's not just good,
he's legit.
He's spectacular when it comes to this sort of movement.
The thing that was cool about that year was he finished the Open in 45th place, and he gets to the regional, qualifies, goes to the games, and then, like you said, wins that event.
He is just barbershopping, quartetting his way up those muscle-ups. Look at that. I think he's kind of cheating because his handlebar mustache is actually helping his arm
almost like,
as he's going up on those rings. He really is making those muscle-ups. I mean, if you talk to a gymnast outside of CrossFit, they're going to look at what he's doing and say, yes, that's exactly how you're supposed to do a muscle-up.
So he has about a 23, 25-second lead over the next closest competitor in this heat. And there's second place in this heat right now.
And look at the time that he has to take in between those muscle-ups.
Yeah.
Still a really good positioning, keeping those feet up in front. But if you see the athletes that come down too controlled and too slow, that's a lot of energy that they're losing, a lot of power that's being wasted.
And that's Robbie Perovich. He's in lane number 6 from CrossFit Fraser Valley. And you're right, Bill. He's taking a lot of time right there to reset.
So I think it'd be wiser for him just to go singles. Go singles and cut that time down.
Yeah. Cody now starting his 4th round, and we're only 4 minutes in. So he's done a round, well, not quite a round per minute, but he's pretty dang close. So smooth through that movement.
You also see when he comes down, watch him, he'll lower himself down, he readjusts his hands to make sure he can keep that false grip. Because the key to this strict muscle up is having that false grip. If you can keep your wrist over the ring, that's going to make that rotation, that transition through the ring a lot easier. So again, that's the gymnastic skill. That's him knowing exactly what he's supposed to be doing and knowing how to position his body and his hands.
Breaking up his handstand push-ups, he has 3 or 4 reps left. And this is his 4th round. Several athletes on their 3rd round of kettlebell snatches. Cody really starting to extend that lead. We're 5 minutes into this event, and he's almost done with his 4th round. Vale in lane number 3, who came out and placed 3rd in event number 1, looked so strong through those snatches. Cole Sager placed 5th in event number 1. And next to Cole is Brendan Lawyer from CrossFit Reformation. Cody finishes his 4th round right about 5 minutes and 29 seconds. Earlier, Eric Schoeman finished his 4th round at 6 minutes and 13 seconds.
But what's even more impressive is he's about 30 seconds ahead of the event record overall at this tempo that he's going. And he looks so relaxed. Yeah. He literally is approaching the halfway point of the rounds. Hasn't really slowed down at all. He's been able to stay consistent on his muscle up. Oh, that's the first break we see on the muscle ups right there. I wasn't expecting that. With the breaks that he was taking prior, I didn't think that he would have to do that. I don't think it's going to affect him as far as his standings with his heat, because he's really going to move well against everyone else, especially as everyone else starts to fatigue.
Well, and he really minimized that break. And we've seen some of the better athletes around the world. That's one thing that they do really, really well is, yeah, they'll take breaks, but they sure minimize the amount of time they're standing underneath those rings. Sticking with his game plan, breaking up the handstand push-ups.
Now, I know that he realized this was going to be a workout that's in his wheelhouse. We all knew he was going to do really well in this workout. We expected him to do very well in this workout. He needs to make sure that he does not overextend himself. Now, what's interesting here is Connor Vale did so well in the first event in this heat. Won the event in this heat. And so we saw the strength. Now we have, does he have the gymnastic skill? Because with Cody Anderson, he has the gymnastic skill, and he was trying to hang on with the weight. He did great for him, but we have that little back and forth that's going on between these two athletes.
Well, and we will talk about damage control throughout the course of the competition, and the athletes really need to capitalize on the events that fit with their strengths and do damage control on the events that don't fit with their strengths. And this is maybe an event that doesn't really fit with Cole Sager's strengths right now. But He's going to have some other events coming up that will match those strengths, and he's really got to capitalize on those events. Do damage control maybe on an event like this that's not right in his wheelhouse.
Well, and he needs to be very smart about this. You talk about damage control. It's not just trying to hang on. It's knowing your body. We haven't even approached the halfway point in the rounds or in the time frame, and he needs to make sure that he's keeping his rounds as consistent as possible. It really doesn't matter if you have a 1 minute first round, if all of a sudden you get to the end and you're at a 3.5 minute last round.
Right.
Because that's just so much degradation that's gone on through the workout. You need to stay consistent. So even though we've talked about this with all of the other heats, even in the women, that you have to know exactly what your body's doing. You have to understand your rest time, and there's a lot of things that can be going on in your head. So you have to understand, all right, let me wait because I don't want to miss. I don't want to miss.
And Cody Anderson, he has 3 reps left on those handstand push-ups on his 6th round. So we're going to keep track of when he finishes this 6th round and let you know how that fits in with Ryan Elrod's time and his split times on his 6th round. Ryan Elrod owning that event record. He set that earlier today in the Atlantic region. So Cody Anderson, his 6th round of kettlebell snatches.
So literally, this is the one element of this event that is as toughest for him. Now, granted, he's moving through it quickly, but the weight compared to everyone else is going to be a much bigger deal. So you can see he's, I don't want to say struggling, but he's having to work a little bit harder for these particular reps, because really, when he gets back to the rig, it's not an issue. Even though he's breaking them up, even though for him, you'd think he'd do everything unbroken, but even though for him, he's moving really, really well. Now that time is kind of starting to come down a little bit. He's only about 13 to 15 seconds ahead of that event record pace.
He's 9 seconds ahead of Ryan Elrod's time on finishing his 6th round.
He's still moving spectacular. He's still moving really smooth, and he's well ahead of this group. He's well ahead.
He's over a round ahead of the next closest competitor in this heat.
And even though we have one more round that's coming up, this time is going to be something that's going to stick in this region.
Yeah. Connor Vale placed 3rd in event number 1, and so if he has a really high finish here in round number 2 or in event number 2, he could really move up that leaderboard. And we say this time and time again: you don't need to win everyone out of the park. You just have to be consistent across 7 events. Cody Anderson, that's his 3rd ring muscle up, goes right into his 4th one, and able to press that out. So this is his 6th round.
And I think we're going to start to see him going maybe 2 and then a 1-1 for those muscle ups. You don't want to have a failed rep, especially for Cody. He knows better than to push himself into that red zone to where he's going to have to sit and wait. But he doesn't want to have a failed rep. That's just going to be too much. That will show that he's gone too far over the line for him.
Yeah. Just past the halfway mark. Well, we're actually approaching the 11-minute mark, so we have 9 minutes left until that time cap. Cole Sager, this is Cole's 6th round.
Good fight to keep those hands close to his body. Great body positioning. Was able to get his legs up, keep those legs nice and straight, but man, those rings came out wide.
Cody Anderson onto his kettlebell snatches, 70 pounds on the kettlebell. This is his 7th round that he's closing out. His final 5 reps. And he finishes his 7th round at 11 minutes and 39 seconds. So he slipped a little bit on that round because Ryan Elrod finished that round in 11 minutes and 26 seconds. So he's no longer on pace to break the record if this continues the same way. 12 minutes into this event, this is heat number 3 of the 2nd event for the men's competition here on the first day of competition in the West Regional. Cole Sager at the bottom of your screen, finishing his kettlebell snatches on round number 6. And it looks like Cole Sager's in 3rd place in this heat right now. finishes his 6th round, moves his kettlebell to the 7th marker, the numeral 7 on the floor. So he is in 3rd place. Your current leader, not only in this heat, but also overall, Cody Anderson. This will be his 8th round. Brendan Lawyer from CrossFit Reformation out of Yakima, Washington.
Looks good on his movement. You can tell he was getting a little wide, and this is where the fatigue is starting to set in. Talked earlier about how the first half of this workout isn't really the workout.
Yeah,
it's the second half of the workout. Once everyone's been kicked in the gut about 19 times, and the shoulders are all blown out, then it officially begins, because now is where you really start to see the fatigue level and what that does to the form, what that does to the movements that these guys are all having. I still think, for the most part, across the board, the kettlebell snatch is more of a forearm blast. I mean, it's not as fatiguing as the other segments, or at least it's not as muscle fatiguing. But we've heard time and time again from athletes across the regions that it's about the forearm that they're feeling. This is where they get the forearm burn. So not your normal arm, not even your normal grip, but it's just that forearm blast on that inside of your forearm. And then what that does confidence-wise going into the muscle.
Right. And Cody Anderson has about a 2-minute, 10-second lead over 2nd place Connor Vale in this heat. So he's still smooth and consistent, like you said, even after the fatigue starts to set in. So he's got 2 out of the way. We're going to see if he's, yep, you're right. He's going to start breaking it up. He's going to go 2, and then 1, and then 1, which I think is smart.
That's such a short break. We're not seeing any other athletes taking that shorter break, but that's what going to singles does.
Yeah.
It allows you to get back up there sooner than you normally would, because you haven't fatigued so much. You haven't gone into that red zone so much.
I'm not getting a dreaded failed rep. There, that's his 9th round of muscle-ups. So he only has 1 round left of muscle-ups. These are his handstand push-ups. He needs to get through 7 reps, and he's sticking to his game plan. Obviously, he broke it up from round number 1. He's going to continue that pattern.
We have to see if he's going to be able to have enough juice to really pick up the tempo going into this next round.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see if, instead of doing a set of 2, 1, 1, if he would just break it up into singles and really keep the rest short for that final round.
Well, when you saw Carlene Matthews when she got into those final rounds, she knew that the time was short. She didn't want to leave anything in the tank, so she really poured on the gas. And I want to see if Cody Anderson is going to do the exact same thing. This is his round of 9, so he's on to his kettlebell snatches. You can see in the background, Connor Vale in the gray shirt is a complete round behind Cody Anderson. And man, yeah, that's impressive. So he only has 1 round left. He finished that round in about 16 minutes and 13 seconds. So if you're comparing him to Eric Showman, he's about, 15, 20 seconds ahead of Eric Showman's pace. And this is Brendan Lawyer, who looks like he's moving into, he's on his round of 8 kettlebell snatches. So it looks like he's trying to, pull the head of Cole Sager. And effectively is moving into 2nd place, Brendan Lawyer from Yakima, Washington. Final rep on his 8th round. Now Brendan Lawyer only has 2 rounds left. Back to Cody Anderson. And this is last round of ring muscle-ups. In fact, this is his final rep on those ring muscle-ups. Now he only has 7 handstand push-ups and 12 kettlebell snatches.
Man.
Oh, now he's going to go all the way through. Look at that. Now he's going unbroken.
One big push.
Wow, that is cool to see. Here he comes. We should have a new fastest time of the day here for the West Region. and it's going to belong to Cody Anderson. It looks like he'll beat Eric Schulman's time by about a minute. Man, he put together a good game plan. He stuck to that game plan. Final round.
One more.
One more. Oh, that could have. Yeah, you got to get that final round. There you go. And now one sprint to the finish. There is your new fastest time of the day here at the West Regional. 18 minutes and 9 seconds. Unofficial time for Cody Anderson.
We knew that he was going to do unbelievable. We knew that if anyone was going to have a shot at holding the event record, it's going to be Cody Anderson. He started falling off, but the fact that he was able to compose himself enough and be able to pick up the tempo towards the end, man, great job. That was exactly what I thought he would do.
Yeah.
He moved perfect through that.
Yeah, and not only does he have the fastest time of the day, I misspoke a little bit. He did break that record from Ryan Elrod. He now owns the event record for event number 2. 18 minutes and I think it was 7-8 seconds unofficial time for Cody Anderson. And he was off the pace. He really, like you said, poured it on in those final rounds, which is cool to see.
You know, and I'm real impressed here with Connor Vail. Did so well in the snatch in that, coming out third overall, and then doing really unbelievable here. When we looked at this workout, it was really hard to go and pick anyone other than Cody Anderson on, in this particular event. But it's awesome to see these guys are really starting to turn it on.
Yeah. Down to the final 30 seconds, Connor Vail only has 2 or 3 reps left on those ring muscle ups. And this is his 10th round. Oh, he's not quite able to get it. So the battle for second place in heat number 3 is going to come down to Connor Vail and Brendan Lawyer.
There's a fight.
Yeah, press that out. There he goes. Gets one more rep before that time expires. There's your 20-minute time cap. Wow, what a battle for second place in this heat. So that's Connor Vail on the left, but hey, the new fastest time of the day here at the West Regional and the fastest time in all of the regionals, the event record belongs to Cody Anderson, 18 minutes and 7 seconds. Very impressive.
You know, basically, if there's an event with muscle ups in it, and Cody Anderson's in it, you're kind of battling for second place, is what everyone else is going to be doing. You're almost having to hand that event to him, and he did exactly what we thought he would do. From the get-go, he took charge of the workout, of the event, took charge of each of the movements, had a specific game plan, knew exactly how he wanted to execute, and look at that body positioning. And this is what we talk about with someone that has gymnastic experience. It's not about, I can walk the balance beam, I can do a backflip. It was all about body positioning and efficiency in the movement as you're doing every movement that you're doing. Because not only is he good at these body weight style movements, but that same skill that goes here helps him in all the weightlifting events that you see later, and allows this lightweight guy, 165-pound guy, to move weights like he was 215 pounds, but then do these body weight movements. Look at this. Like he's 115 pounds. Yeah. Incredible movement. Outstanding job. But you know what? This is the one that he needed to win. And he followed suit. Yeah.
Well, and he certainly sets the standard for the next heat of men that are coming up. That's got to be a little disheartening when you see Cody Anderson go out there, knock this one out of the park, and establish a new event record. Cody Anderson, new event record, 18 minutes and 7 seconds. He's standing by with Jen now.
We do have Cody with us, and you just broke the event record that was set earlier today. What do you have to say about that?
It's exciting. I was kind of hoping I'd do well, but I know there's no guarantee, so I just wanted to do my best.
Was it the mustache?
Maybe like 10%. I worked hard this year too.
Maybe a little bit. All right, so what do you do to keep yourself in a position to keep climbing up the leaderboard and get yourself to Carson?
I think just take it one event at a time and just do my best. And the biggest thing for me this year is just to enjoy myself. I don't want to put too much pressure on myself to make anything happen, so I'm having fun so far.
It's all about having fun and performing pretty well, I guess. All right, thank you so much, Cody, and we can't wait to see what you do the rest of the weekend. Great job on that event.
Brent Fikowski has become the king of almost making it to the games. He's missed going the last 2 years by a combined 3 points. I think we expected him to be in contention after day one, but probably not in first place because he really impressed on event number one.
I don't think a single person said, yeah, Fikowski, second place on the snatch ladder. For sure, he's going to blow by, Sager and Lucas Parker. No, he's catching me off guard. And personally, we watched him for so long, I hope he holds on to it. And with Joe Scalia, one of the guys from that clan has to make it to the games.
Yeah.
Right? We got to have those fun Instagram posts rolling in. And especially for Brent, having a good day one was huge. He's tripped up towards the end on the last event, and this year with the thrusters and legless row climbs, that's a great event for him. So if you can just stay steady through today, obviously through today and then tomorrow as well, he's set up great.
What athletes on the men's side surprised you with their performances?
The man with the mustache, getting power from the stash, Cody Anderson. He is small, but he is mighty. 165 pounds, went into event number one and made it through every single barbell but the last one. Then we knew once Regional Nate came, this is where he would make his money, and indeed he did. 18 minutes and 7 seconds. That took a 12th place finish on event number one and a first place finish on event number two, and rocketed him up the leaderboard to second place overall. He just missed it by 1 point last year, and I think day two looks really good for him, especially event 3 and 4. I was surprised by a young athlete in Connor Vale. He's only 23 years old, competing out of the Canada West. He was 9th in the Open this year, so he wasn't necessarily one of the top guys coming into this particular event, but he's been competing at regionals since 2012, back when he was a teenager still technically. So I'm excited to see how well he can just kind of light the fuse after a heavy and a skill-intensive day on day number one and see if he can stay in the top 5.
That's the men's competition out in Portland for